Okay, you've seen all my other crash videos. Now, this is a video talking about the Blade 450 as opposed to the little MCPX, which is a great little helicopter. Now, I've been flying since July of 2011, and when I first started flying, they told me the larger the helicopter, the more stable. Now, that might be true, but I think the people that told me that, they got a percentage of all the parts that I bought. And I bought plenty. So, they talked to me about time constant, whereas if you try to balance a broomstick in the palm of your hand, it's much easier than if you try to balance a pencil, which, that made sense to me. But for some reason, when I start flying, I defy the laws of physics because I can fly this MCPX so much better than the 450. Now they tell me that, well, the T-Rex by a line is a much more stable helicopter than the Blade 450. All right, that might be. It's a lot more expensive, so I think if you want to get into a 450 class, I think the Blade 450 is definitely the way to go, price-wise, but it is a very difficult helicopter to fly, as opposed to the little MCPX, which is a wonderful little helicopter. I get out there with that thing and I'm flying nose in, nose back. I mean, I can't do any 3D stuff. At least I haven't tried yet. I still like the way it looks and I don't want to have to rebuild it. So I'm just practicing my basic flying. And then, actually, before I bought the MCPX, I bought the little T-Rex. T-Rex 100X. What a great little helicopter. I know. It's a fixed pitch. Yeah, it's a fixed pitch. But in order to get the nose-in orientation and things like that, it really, really flies nice. And if the Align helicopters, the T-Rex series, the larger ones fly as good as this one, I mean, it's got a very stable, solid feel to it. It flies really nicely. The MCPX also, very, very solid, very stable, very, very smooth. Very smooth. And it's just a lot of fun, whereas when you're flying the little bit bigger guys, it does get a little bit scary because you realize when you crash, it is expensive to fix, and it does take a lot of time to rebuild it. Whereas these little things, they're not that expensive to rebuild. So if you're just starting out and somebody tells you, hey, go with the big one, nay. Save your money. Go for the little guy. Learn how to fly him. Even if you crash more than with the big one, it's still going to be cheaper. You crash one good time with this thing. You've seen my videos. It is very difficult to fly that sucker, and it gets very nerve-wracking. But it is on the other hand, it is a lot of fun to fly something, that size. It takes a lot of skill, which I don't have yet, but I will. I'm getting there. And again, when I bought the Blade 450, it did come with the DX6i, which is, I think, a wonderful transmitter. You're able to program in a lot of different parameters. So if you guys look on YouTube, you can find a lot of videos on the DX6i that show you how to tame down the helicopter so it's not so edgy and it's a lot more docile to fly, so your stick movements are not so wild. And I think those videos by those guys that put them on there, I think they're very, very informative and educational, and they helped me a large amount. So there you have it. There's the one that I used to copy from. I need that. I keep crashing this thing so often, but I have been nose hovering in, and I haven't been doing bad. But sometimes I get a little bit too high in the air. Like the other day, I was a little bit too high, and I came down a little bit crooked, and I took out the main rotor blades. So I had to replace them, but I didn't break anything else, which was really surprising. It did, even with those large dowels that I have in there. Look at that. It's still tipped. and I caught the main rotors, and they broke. But I was able to just replace the main rotors and track the blades and balance them, and it flies pretty good again. But like I said, for me, I think the MCPX would have been a much better helicopter to start with than the Blade 450. And you're going to have a lot of fun with that, the MCPX. And then once you get comfortable flying this collective pitch, I mean, there's a lot you could do with that. So, I mean, between the 3D flight and everything, I think it's a great little heli. So, there's my opinion for what it's worth. Save your money. Get the MCPX and go out there and have a ball. Even outside, in the wind, it's fine. It's so without the fly bar, it's still very, very stable. Technology in this thing is amazing. This is the version 2. I know they increased the size of the tail motor a bit, I think, to keep the tail locked in. And even if you're just starting out, I think the T-Rex is a wonderful little helicopter. Very, very stable. Lots of fun. A little twitchy outside. You get a nice wind to come along, and you may have to fish this out of the tree because it's going to go where the wind goes. So that, I would say, is pretty much an inside heli. But this sucker screams. You're going to have a blast with this thing. So until my next video of total destruction, take a good look. All right, there it is. All right, listen, everybody out there, hope you enjoyed the video, and happy flying.